Well, good morning, everyone, or afternoon or evening, depending upon where you are and at what time you are actually watching this program. I'm William Conway, your host for today's show. Again, thank you so very much for joining us here at Center for Spiritual Living in Palm Desert. Today, my talk title is Yay, We're Opening Up. But first, just let's set our intention for this meeting, this time together. And so I just want you to relax. Allow that chair, that barca lounger, that couch, that bed, just to support you. And follow me in this prayer. That I know that there's only one thing happening at any given instant, and that is the perfect unfoldment of life. God's calling. Oh, I love my life, everyone. I absolutely love it. To deal with unexpected sidetracks such as that. But anyway, in this happiness, this laughter, allow us just to let the chair support us. And again, I know that all life is nothing less than the totality of spirit. Peace, love, harmony, the expansion of life are all attributes and actions of the divine one power. And I recognize my oneness with that power. And so right here, I state and claim my truth. That today, right now, is perfect. That what happens, happens with purpose. Through my insight and intellect, I am able to discern and see the greater picture of this perfect life unfolding. And in seeing that perfect unfoldment of life, fills me with joy and gratitude. A knowing that through my recognition and understanding of this divine power, this divine life, that I, through my thoughts and emotions and intellect, direct life to unfold the way that I wish and desire. Through that understanding and that peace of mind, I allow and direct my thoughts of health, direct my body. I direct my thoughts of love to open my heart to understanding to others and those around me. I open my heart to accept my good from those around me, seeing all life as it unfolds as a gift, the gift of insight, the gift of inner contemplation of my part of this perfect unfoldment of spirit. And through that peace and that calm, I now release this word as law, knowing it is done right here and right now. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you so very much for this time. So again, my talk title is Yay, We're Opening Up. Now, I got that from one of Dr. James's last talks, where he actually said something to that effect. And the light bulb went off in my head. And that's exactly what's going on. Is here we are, everyone's getting their shots who wants their shots. Whether it's a 1 shot or 2 shot, it doesn't matter. The point is that we are living that expectant life of what's beyond the fence, what's beyond tomorrow. always living from the now, but living that expectant life. And so we're opening up. But when I thought of that and reflect upon what has happened, I gained insight on what we've been through. And yes, yay, we're opening up also means we're opening our hearts. We're opening our minds. We're opening our creativity to figure out what's next in our own individual lives. Every one of us, I'm sure, has been changed and touched by the past events. There have been some ups and there have been some downs, I'm sure. But as we are looking forward to the physical side of opening up, shops, friends, are we not glad that we have made it through and are making it through? And as we reflect upon this past year, are there not times that we can smile and say that this is the instant I changed my life, or I changed my thoughts, or I changed my direction? So this past year has been a year. Has it been a year of expansion, of creativity for you? Are you better off than you were a year ago? Now that has many facets to it. Financial is one, health is another, creativity and problem solving. Boy, talk about a problem solved. That is definitely something that we've had to stretch that muscle in our mind. Problem solving. And that's been a good one. So, this past year has forced us to change. But I want to ask a question. Is this not something that has been prayed for? Did we not bring this on ourselves as a race consciousness? Did we not bring this past event to the forefront? Did Spirit not just say yes to us? You're probably asking, what are you talking about, William? How would I want this past year to happen? Well, let me ask you this. Growing up, we've always thought, and I have been told that, pay attention to what you're thinking about. It just may happen. And I can recall, as I've grown up, thinking to myself, wow, I wish I didn't have to go to work today. Or I wish I didn't have that job or this job or whatever. I mean, how many times have you thought that thought? Have you? I'd like to know. I know that I have, more than once. And so through this teaching of new thought, the biggest factor that we talk about is our thoughts become things. And so in knowing the truth of that statement and in reflecting upon this past year, not looking at it like a victim or woe is me, pity me, but from a point of view, a third person, and understanding what is it that I'm dealing with? What is it that I'm seeing? I don't know. Have you done the same thing? But in doing that, it came to me that idea of, gee, I wish I didn't have to go to work today. Or I wish something different was to happen. I wish something would happen to change my life. You know, I want to be more creative. I want to be this. I want to be that. I mean, how many times have we thought that? So, isn't that a race consciousness that we've created? Have we not put out to the universe, we want something to change? I think we have. But we never thought it through, because I was always saying it just towards me. I want my life to change. I was only thinking about myself. But as a race consciousness, we need to understand that the universe says yes. It works in ways that we cannot comprehend. And so, do you follow what I'm saying? That through our race consciousness of that ever so subtle, I want my life to change, I want to be more creative, I want something different in my life. Can you see the bridge that we as race consciousness has created for this past year? It kind of puts a little bit of responsibility on us, doesn't it? That's a hard pill to swallow. It definitely is. But it is a pill nonetheless that needs to be swallowed, because we all need to know that we no longer react to life. We need to understand that we direct life, regardless of your religious background, your religious faith. You are not a victim. That's an even bigger pill to swallow. But it's a pill that needs to be heard and felt, because knowing the truth that you and I, that we are not victims, that gives us the key to our own life. Follow me now. I'm responsible for my thoughts that have created my life. Taking responsibility for my thoughts and knowing that my thoughts, in accordance with law, the capital L, life unfolds perfectly for its highest and best good. But since I have the key, I must now learn, how do I direct my thoughts? And that's where we at the Center for Spiritual Living and the Global Truth Center with Dr. James, we're not a place that tell you what to think. We are the place that teaches you how to think. We open up your mind. We open up your heart. We open up the intellect to understand that these thoughts, through feelings and compassion, and passion, is the energy of life. It is the beacon upon which spirit reacts and acts upon to create form to answer our thoughts. Another word for thoughts is prayers. So I think this past year is a great opportunity to reflect upon our own individual thoughts. Our thoughts about our own life, our thoughts about the direction that we're heading as an individual, our direction upon who we invite into our life, and what we're willing to accept and sometimes tolerate. I know for me that there have been some changes. There have been new friendships formed, while others have just faded away. There was no calling up someone and going, you know what, I don't like you. I'm not going to be your friend anymore. That's not what needs to be said. But through your own alignment and your own consciousness of what you accept in your heart as to how you are willing to be treated and what you are willing and how you are willing to treat others, everything unfolds perfectly. That which needs to be let go of or fall away does naturally, painlessly, and greater yet, that which needs to be expressed and experienced comes into your life in ways that you can't expect. Which brings us back to this past year. No one, I think, could have imagined a global change of ideas and relationships and how we do things and how commerce works. But through accepting of what is and understanding that you have the power to direct your life, have faith and trust yourself, trust the divine power, wherever it is, up there, down there, left, right. It's everything. It's a 365-degree sphere of energy around which you are the center of your own universe. And through your thoughts and understanding, your life does and will change. The universe can only say yes. That is how consciousness and the expansion of that divine power manifests as form. So the race consciousness, excuse me, I'm gonna grab some water here. So you might say, William, so race consciousness, what does that have to do with me? Well, you and I are part of that race consciousness, but conscious thought is more powerful than an unconscious thought. Meaning, when I have a purpose upon which I'm thinking of what I want to desire, whether it's that better job, whether it's that grander relationship, whether it's more creativity, whatever it is, that focused thought has more weight, has more amplitude than unconscious thought. Simply a leaf flowing with the river downstream has not the power than a person with a paddle and an oar. They are both on that river of life, of consciousness, of spirit, whatever you want to call that river in this analogy, whatever you want to call it. But the difference between you and that leaf is through your use of that power. They are both equally supported as if the surface of the river is the support of spirit in your own life. It does not discern that a leaf here, I'm going to act differently than a kayak over here. They are both supported equally to the amount of their weight. But it is through our conscious use of the river of spirit, the universe, divine nature, whatever you want to call it, through our use, and that paddle is our consciousness, our thoughts being directed. Are we able to change the direction and the trajectory of our own life? Once you understand that, you truly are the captain of your own ship. You can no longer unlearn or unrecognize your importance within your own life. And so from this point on, anything that you do not like in your life, or you don't like how it's unfolding, or whatever that irritant is, know this, that through your thoughts, you have, and only you, have the power to change that. Those around us, this life around each and every one of us, that is the effect. So you don't like that job. You want to change that job. Well, your boss that just fired you, he's not the reason that you no longer have that job. He's the effect, or she, they, whatever. That person is the effect, because it was your conscious thought that directed the universe, and the universe said, yes, here's your opportunity to change your life. More often than not, a lot of times, people don't really think out the end game. They don't see the whole picture. They're just focused in on that first few feet in front of their nose. They can't see what's coming down the road. But through opening up your mind and your heart through the Center for Spiritual Living and the Global Truth Center and places of that with New Thought, that's the place where you learn your relationship with the universe. Know that you are the director of your life. That through your thoughts and your passions, you can have the life that you desire. The trick is to be focused on those desires that you want to have happen. So over this past year, I noticed that there was kind of some stages that I went through. And if you have any comments, please put them down. I'd like to see what comments that you may have about this past year, or maybe insights that you have had. I would love for you to share that with me right now. But I noticed that for the first few months about this thing, when everything was shut down, I was like, okay, that's going to last a week or 2 weeks, at tops. But as time went on, I was waiting and waiting and waiting still. But then I went from this waiting of just like, okay, my life is just what it is. I'm just kind of, it's like a vacation. It's a forced vacation, especially with, the stimulus this and the stimulus that. And it was nice getting a paycheck here and there, which I'm sure that we as taxpayers, we're going to have to pay ourselves back. That's another show, isn't it? Anyway, so I went from waiting and not really doing anything to really watching and following the numbers. And it was like every day I was waking up, and first thing I do is turn on the TV. What are the numbers? And, all this doom and gloom that I was hearing on TV, that I was hearing outside. But realistically, other than shops and things that were kind of closed down, a little bit quieter, there wasn't too much that has changed in my own life, in my own circle. What is that movie? The Inner Circle. It wasn't the Meet the Fockers or whatever the movie is. But you understand what I'm talking about. Our own little individual circle, our bubble that we talk about that we have. Other than just being on that mini vacation that I thought was only going to last a month, everything else, yeah, I still went to the grocery store. I still had toilet paper. Remember when that went through? That was kind of wild, which I never understood. But life kind of went on. And even though we didn't have Sunday service at our center, we were still busy. We were still doing things. Life goes on. Things need to be upkept. Lights need to turn on. Lights need to turn off. Things need to be painted. Things need to be rearranged. Things need to be dusted. Need to cook dinner. Need to do dishes. Need to do laundry. Life went on. So all this stuff that I was watching and in fear of, and these numbers weren't really showing up in my life. Yes, people in my circle, in my extended circle, yes, there have been people who have made their transition. I am not saying that. I'm not belittling that. But the world did not fall down. It did not crumble. Just like the river, when you dam up the river, life finds a new outlet, that new stream. And so this past year has been the process of that beaver dam being created, and the natural power and flow of spirit has now redirected itself in another way. And so now that so-called flow of the river, that day in, day out, that flow that we've come to understand and to know has changed. But it's still there. It's still flowing. And that's what I want to talk about. That is the yay, we're opening up. Opening up to the understanding, not the idea of realizing, but the idea of knowing that regardless, life unfolds and life is always finding a way to expand itself, to change itself, to evolve itself. Since the Big Bang, the only thing that's been constant has been change. And change can be said with a capital C. Change. The universe, spirit, life, energy, God, whatever you want to call it, change is always constant. So as we redirect our lives, as we find out our passion again, has our life not become better? It still may be a little uncomfortable, but are you more excited today about that new prospect? I'm seeing people open up small businesses, small online this, that, the other, creativity. I'm seeing people who were stuck behind a desk now all of a sudden growing gardens in their front yard, not only for themselves, but for people and their community around them. And not only that, but going out and teaching their neighbors how to do the same. Is that not the beauty of spirit? Is that not proof of life expanding, of that divine one power showing its thread through each and every one of us. That yes, life has changed, but life is greater, more abundant, more opulent. That's the word, opulent. But as I started realizing the stages that I was kind of able to understand that I was going through, I realized they are the same stages that when one goes through grief goes through. And I find that very interesting. Isn't it not unlike a death? This change, this global change of how we do and interact with one another, borders notwithstanding, but an idea of seeing those around us in different parts of the world as I can see that person. I can relate to that person. I know that person. To take it from that step to the understanding that I am that person and that person is me. When we can understand the true divine nature of spirit, of God, the universe, nature, when you can understand its divine life, it is our divine life. There is no separation from one to another. How can there be? Because there's no separation from myself and spirit. Since that is true, since that divine connection of what spirit is, I am, must also hold true that what someone else is, or what they are, I am as well. When you see that Trinity, that me, spirit, and something else as a triune nature, what a wonderful idea. Better yet, what a better realization of truth. And the beautiful thing about truth is, once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Whether or not you believe it, that doesn't matter. The truth is out there. It's like a mathematical formula. 1 + 1 = 2. That is the mathematical truth. I can plug in numbers, 2 + 3, and call it 6. I got the wrong number, but the formula itself is true to itself, its own divine nature. I am incorrect in the usage. The application is never wrong. It is my usage. So it is through that understanding that is with our realigning our thoughts with the true nature of spirit, that true nature of that knowingness within your own heart. When you redirect your thoughts to stay in line with that feeling of love, everything is perfect. Life conspires for your benefit. So I talked earlier about the 7 stages, or the stages of going through grief. And the first and foremost, shock. Isn't that true? When this first happened, weren't we all shocked? We were, what is going on here? Never heard of such a thing. And yes, 10 or 15 years ago, we had something called the swine flu, and that was something big. And again, the media made something of it, and it was pretty big. But first and foremost is the shock of what's going on. I don't understand. We were all in our own little boxes, our own little cubes. And now all of a sudden there's something outside of that's throwing a monkey wrench in my, I got to wake up at 5:30 to take my shower, to brush my teeth, to get out of the driveway by 7:05 so that know I'm going to hit traffic. I've got my life planned. I've got my little box. But that shock of all of a sudden, that's gone. Who am I? What do I do? And then as you realize and see what's really going on, then the next step is pain and guilt. All this stuff is happening. And for me, for right now, it's the pain and guilt that I'm healthy, but I have friends who are now sick, who are in bed, who are on life support. But I'm fine. My health is perfect. But I have friends, relationships, those around me, family members who are not doing so well. And so it's the pain and the guilt of having that compassion for others that you take that feeling of pain and guilt upon yourself. That's a burden. That truly is a burden. But then when you realize that now I have this burden, I've got my own life I've got to deal with now. I've got to deal with all this other stuff. What happens? That pain, that guilt turns to anger. And there's been a lot of stuff going on. Not only have we been dealing with COVID and health issues, but there's been a lot of other social things happening. A lot of demonstrations. There's a lot of energy, a lot of passion about individual rights. And I'm not here to get into that, but the point is to step back from that and not be in it, but see the energy around what's happening as a viewer. We can then gain access and understanding and be able to, with a conscious thought, redirect those thoughts and make a change for life. And then when that anger and bargaining and saying, I'll do this for that. So you're trying to barter with what life is putting in front of you. We kind of go into that depression or that sadness. Some people, it may last a little while. Some people may be going through that depression still. And for those of you who are watching, who are going through that, who are depressed, please, we are here as practitioners, as reverends. We are here to help you through this process, through understanding and helping you know the truth and the wonder of who and what you are. You can call our center, and our phone number is 760-346-4649. Again, let me tell you, 760-346-4649. That is our office phone number. Thank you so much. Spirit has my back. I'm loving it. But you can call the center and ask to speak to a practitioner. And we will gladly be able to get back with you and help you through this process. Help you see the truth of your own life and give you guidance and understanding that you, as the individual, you are the one that has the power to change your life. It is through our time together, through this practitioner session, that we help you find that power and that understanding and that realization that you have the power to direct and change your life in whatever direction you want to go. But then after depression, the next stage of grief is that upward turn. It's all of a sudden, it's like that Monty Python, the opening of Monty Python where the clouds part away. And I know I'm funny. But I can picture those cartoon clouds parting away and that the angelic, as light comes beaming down, as the depression leaves, and that upward turn, that upward energy of, I have something to do. I have something to look forward to. And that is the turn in your own life, in your own understanding. And this whole process is just that. And this circle of life, of this what they call the stages of grief, are the stages of life, of how we change and redirect what we are willing to accept into our lives, what we are willing to tolerate. It's always about those individual circles that we have within our life, whether it's relationships, whether it's work, whether it's health, whatever it is. Again, that mathematical formula, that process upon which spirit always operates, plug in your little numbers that you want to, and you're going to get your answer. But make sure that your numbers that you're plugging in to law, to the thing itself, for what it does, make sure that those numbers, aka your thoughts, are truly what you want to experience. It comes back on you and I. What do I truly want to experience? And that's where our conscious thoughts have got to change. You want to change your life? Great. You can want to all day long. Wanting doesn't mean a darn thing. You can sit in your Barker lounger all day long wanting. I can want to get up. I can want to go to the bathroom. But until I actually do something and make the conscious idea or thought to, I am moving, does anything change? Does anything happen? And that, again, is the beauty of life and the gift of what we have just, and what we are going through daily. It's not just this past year. It's every single day of our life is a gift. It's a moment of learning. It's a moment that allows you to say, yes, I like this experience. I want more of it, and continue to do that. But it's also the moment of going, I'm done with this. Wipe your hands of it, drop it on the side. You don't have to worry about it, because I'm telling you what, Spirit has the spiritual trash can. It picks up all the trash. You don't have to worry about where you're dropping off your trash. Spirit takes care of it. You don't need to find a spiritual garbage can to change your life. There you go. That's in my book. You don't need to find the spiritual garbage can. Spiritual garbage can. I like that. Spiritual garbage can. I don't write books, but I'm writing that. But anyway, there's that upward turn of throwing that garbage and going through to the recognition that you and I are in complete control of our life. Yes, the race consciousness is what it is, but it doesn't have to be your truth. And that is the secret of life, your life. Quit living your life through the lens of race consciousness, of what the collective is doing. Live your life by your own terms. You determine what your limits are. You determine what you're willing to tolerate. Once you come to terms with your own truth about who and what you are and what you are willing to tolerate, will that landscape around you within your mind change. Not until you realize that the fence upon which you've built around your own life only exists in the mind. It is not a physical fence. It is a mental fence. It is a mental leash. Once you realize that and recognize that, you are no longer tied down at the stake. You are free to do and act and allow that creativity of whatever aspect of life you want to unfold. You are allowed to and expected to show spirit a good time, to put it to the test. Allow spirit to prove to you it says yes. Through your work, through your actions, spirit always says yes. I mean, can you imagine being at your house and going, gee, I need groceries. I'm going to sit home and pray. I'm going to kneel down and pray on groceries. You know, God will take care of me, spirit, the universe. I'm going to stay in my kitchen. I'm going to pray. Doesn't work. But when you go, I want to buy pasta, I want ricotta cheese, I want some ground beef, I want some tomatoes, I want bell peppers, I want salt, pepper, garlic, I want a pan, a 9x13. Only then, when you think of all of those ingredients, can you make your spiritual lasagna. You can't do it by just sitting in your kitchen wanting those ingredients. You first have to know that these are the ingredients of what I want to experience. Go out, move your feet, jump in your car. The universe has all of those ingredients in the spiritual grocery store of life, just waiting for you to show up and take it off the shelf. Go home, cook it, serve it up, and eat it. Only then can you enjoy the bounty of your life. This is a relationship. This is not a one-way street. You acting through and as spirit, allow your life to unfold the way you want it to. So as we've talked about those points and those aspects of going through grief, the last one is acceptance. That's where the magic happens. accepting that which is, aka what's going on around me. I accept it for what it is, period. It's just happening. But you direct your life. I direct my life. Life doesn't direct me. And when you can accept and understand that truth, that is where the magic happens. That is where the miracles happen. But for me, I no longer speak in terms of miracles, because I know the way that the universe, spirit, God operates. I call them demonstrations. Everything in my life has been a demonstration. If you want to call it because of your background and your faith, call it a miracle. That's great. I'm right there with you. It's the same way we call love in English is love, but in Spanish it's amor, and I think in French it's amore, and whatever language you want to speak it. Whatever you call love in that language, it is. So call it a miracle. But I'm telling you right now that your thoughts, your feelings, and my thoughts and my feelings create those miracles, create those demonstrations. So yes, this has been a wonderful year. It's been a year that I personally, if I could see into the future and say, you've got choice of Monty Python or Monty Hall. You remember that? Let's make a deal. What's between door 1, 2, or 3? If I had the opportunity, if I knew what were behind them, I probably wouldn't have picked this past year's experience. But nonetheless, it has given the gift of expansion, of creativity, of knowing that life is and does unfold perfectly. So I am very grateful for this time that we've had today. And I love this past year to go and the insights that Dr. James and Dr. Joe have given me over the past years. Truly, my life has changed. It has changed for the better. And I'm telling you this right here and now, that you, even though if you're watching this, if you don't believe that you have the power to change your life, I invite you. I have the faith. I have the belief for you. Believe that I believe that you can change your life. If you can't believe you can change your life, believe that I have the belief in you. Borrow my belief. I'm asking you, borrow my belief. You can change your life. It is through the conscious thoughts that you direct. The universe can only say one thing, and that is yes. 3 little letters, Y-E, yes. So look at this past year. Yay, we're open. Not only are we opening up as far as commerce goes, but yay, we've opened spiritually. We've opened our minds. We've opened our hearts. We've opened ourselves outside of ourselves. We are compassionate with those around us. We have opened up. Is that not a reason to celebrate? This is a tremendous time of celebration. Go out into the streets. Call your friends. Call your neighbor that you're picking up groceries for because they may be too frail or they can't drive or they don't own a car. Go out into the streets and have that gratitude of this past year, of that weight of compassion that you've had within you your whole life. And now it has that avenue upon which it gets to be expressed. This has been a great year. It's definitely been a year of changes, but nonetheless, it has been a year that I am grateful that I have experienced because I recognize myself and others. I have more compassion. I have more empathy. I am more open to those around me. I am more loving. How can I say anything but yay, we're opening up. Yay. Not bad. It's yes. Yay, we are opening up. As a race consciousness, we are opening up. And that is such a wonderful feeling. So now as we wind down this hour, I want to thank you so very much for lending me your ear. I hope that I've said some words and some things that have opened up your thought patterns and opened up your life, opened up your hearts. I want to I want to thank everyone at Swing Point Media for everything for this past year. I want to thank the Center for Spiritual Living in Palm Desert. I want to thank GTC, the Global Truth Center. I want to thank Dr. James, and I want to thank Dr. Joe. Those two men have changed my life. And now I am willing to be there of service for those who want to change their lives. Hopefully something I've said today has struck a chord with you, has resonated with you, and that's a good thing. Keep going, keep it up. God says yes. And so in this time, I'd like to do a closing prayer. And just know with me right now that the universe always unfolds perfectly. How can it do anything other than that? It's just energy acting upon itself. And it is in that recognition of that perfection that I understand and I see the perfection in me. And I am able to see the perfection in you. And so right now, I claim my truth. That I say yes to the universe. I say yes to a higher consciousness. I say yes to a better self. I say yes to the ideas that create life, create passion, create acceptance. I say yes to life. I say yes to it all. And in that yes, I am filled with gratitude. I am filled with joy. I am filled with compassion. And in that alignment of those feelings, in that totality of spirit, I release my word as law, knowing it is perfectly done right here and right now. And together we say, and so it is. I want to thank you all so very much for joining me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you all. You have a wonderful day now. Bye-bye.